This is Physics 222, and it's an introduction video being made for the instructors. First issue we have is how do we get to the website? And so what I would do if I was going to do it the first time is I'd go to iwcc.edu, and that would send me to the Iowa Western homepage, and then I would then click on the rock thing, and that would bring me up into the Reaver Online Campus portion of the website. Now clearly I have my home page set up to go there directly, and so that's how I go there, but I wouldn't expect you guys to do that, but you might. Your classes are here. In general, you're going to have one section or two sections, and with the labs that means 4 of them. Because I'm an instructor of record on all 12 sections, I get to see all of them. And I don't get to see all of them because I only get to see 25 of the more than I have. Oh well. Just another cross to bear. So we'll, first thing we'll look at is what's going to show up in this block. And basically it's the last 5 days of activity. So if somebody does a discussion, turns in an assignment, does a quiz, it'll show up there. Only 3 will show up. So if there's one person does 4 quizzes, then the 4th quiz won't show up because it's only going to show 3 of them, which is a slight pain. These all say assignments because those are the things that I did. But down here we have 2 quizzes. Somebody in section 4 has done quizzes, so we'll go and look at section 4. Now, 2 weeks prior to the start of class, I unhid. I'm gonna turn on editing. You normally don't need to do that. I'm gonna do that to show you what I want to show you. 2 weeks prior to the start of class, I opened the first 4 chapters for the students so they could start early, so they could be familiar with the website, so when it's time to start for real, it's not a mystery to them where they want to go. It'll still be a mystery, but that's beside the point. This is chapter 20. In chapter 20, the test is hidden. So until we will come up on the chapter 17 to 20 test, and we see that we have some time remaining for submissions or whatever. But it's going to appear on the website on the 11th of June, and it's due on the 13th of June. So right now the students can't see that, but you can. If I hit edit the settings for this, we see that that's where I set the allowability. So most of them should be set at 7 o'clock in the morning, so I'm going to set it to 7 o'clock in the morning. When the cutoff date occurs, then basically no late work will be accepted to the website. I always allow late work, so if somebody sends me a test by email late, that's perfectly okay. They have 20, maximum download is 20. So there's a Dropbox for the homework with 20 downloads and a Dropbox for the test with 20 downloads. Some people exceed that and end up having to email you 4 or 5 pages because their homework was done on a digital camera and they didn't bother to put it into one file, which is just another thing that happens. Currently what's on the website for the test, we'll get out of this page real quick, is the spring test that we used. And between now and the time that test opens, what will happen is that a summer one will come on. The problem with the spring test is that it probably says something like spring, and we don't particularly want to do that. That's lacks professionalism. So it says spring 2014. The test would be there that would say summer 2014, and I would send you the key. So right now I will worry about that later, how I do that, but it'll be an email thing. I'm thinking about putting the key on the website in a hidden place, but that's probably not a good idea, so I'm probably not going to do that. The test is multiple choice, but I have removed correct answers. Here's some short answer things on it as well. I have removed the correct answer from some of the multiple choice things. The instruction says that if I do that, then treat it as an essay question. So right there, this is a physics class. You may find that I've removed the correct answer from the multiple choice section. When the correct response is not given, treat the problem the same way you would treat an essay question. So that'll be the way that works. Now, when I go and I grade this test, I click on View, Grade, and All Submissions, and now it comes up with the people that are there. If I hit the status button, I'll get the people on top that have submitted already, and I'd hit the grade button. The grade button would show me the files that the student had submitted, so they'd be all listed there. I'd open them up, I'd grade it. I manually keep track of which ones they miss. I don't put the grade in now, I put it in later. I go to Show Next, and then I can grade the next one. And that's the way I do that. And if I'm in alphabetical order, then that is fine. Then what we will do is we will send out an email saying that for the, at some time after the test, saying, okay, it's time to put the grades in the grade book. I anticipate the first test being probably only one version, but then after that I expect multiple versions to be out there, and each of you may have a different test sitting on the website. That does not limit you in your creativity. If you want to use a different test, I really don't care. That would be okay too. The final exam and the chapter tests, I have 7 different final exams and basically 7 different chapter tests for every set of chapter tests coming out of the TestGen test bank for the book, and those questions are not duplicated. So a question on the chapter test doesn't occur on the final exam, and vice versa. I haven't for the last 2 years sent back any feedback on the test saying that you missed questions 4, 5, 6, and 7. I don't do that. I had a student 2 years ago that insisted upon doing it. She missed 4, and she wanted to know which 4 she missed. Well, clearly that's some fraternity or sorority that's trying to keep a test bank that has all the right answers in it. And my response to that was creative. I asked her to send me the list of the ones she missed, and then I'd tell her whether or not she was right or not. And so that worked out real good. Normally when I do something like that, I don't get a response back because the student isn't looking to know for knowledge. They're just looking to feather the test bank. Now every chapter has a quiz. The quiz is going to be automatically put in the grade book for you, and you don't have to do anything with it at all. Every chapter has a discussion. The discussion will have to be graded, and it's graded 0, 1, 2. Those are the only possibilities of grading it, and until we have somebody do a discussion, I can't really show you what that looks like. But basically here's one that says does biological evolution and growth of organisms violate the second law? Why or why not? The book obviously says that it doesn't, so an answer of no, it doesn't violate is perfectly okay. The religious right might come in and say yes, it does, which is, and as long as a why or why not is there, that's perfectly okay too. And in fact, if you look at the physics books that were printed in 1880, I have one that's printed in 1870, it would indicate that evolution was not an issue with the second law of thermodynamics back then. In fact, it would have violated it back then. But that's between the big boys and the biology girls, so we'll see how that works out. But right now, read it over. Correct spelling would be a good thing. We do have other. Okay, now the next issue I'd like to discuss is the issue of can I use the book that I use for Physics 1? So if you looked at the introductory video I gave to the students, I told them that they could in fact use the textbook they used in Physics 1. They don't have to buy my book. I really don't care. And when they do, they'll email me and ask, how do we do that? And so I'll find here we go. Here's a guy that emailed me and wanted to know whether or not, what am I supposed to do to use the different book? And I emailed back, yes, you may use the University Physics book by Young. For your homework, do the problems in your book. If the syllabus has 10 problems to do, up to 58, you do 10 problems up to 58. When you turn in your homework, on the first page, make sure you put on, I am using University Physics by Young and Freeman, so that I know that you are. So that's the normal response. Now I've responded that way to 4 students already, and because this student didn't put on a section number, I don't know if he's in my section or your sections, because right now it would appear everyone's probably emailing me. So that's the name of that tune. This is Terry's email. He said, thank you very much for having the chapters open, but if I do them, will they show up in the grade book? I told him, do it and send it back. Well, you notice his email doesn't include a section number. So I looked in sections 1 through 4. He's not in sections 1 through 4. But there were other people that had already done that. So I told him, fully functional, go ahead and do whatever you need to do. And I misspelled chapters. Well, can't have everything, I suppose. That's what emails are for. When I go and, let's look at the grade book for a moment. Sometime you're going to want to put zeros in the grade book. And so now I've come and I'm looking at these quizzes. If I go to column grader and I check all empty things be 0 and I save it, what will happen is that all the people that haven't done it yet will get a 0. But the automatic feature of putting the grade in the grade book after you do your quiz will also go away. So clearly there's a trade-off we have between having your grade look reasonable because you haven't done anything and it should be a bunch of zeros, and the difficulty we would have if we put the zeros in too soon. So what I do is I wait until I'm done grading the chapter test and I'm done grading the homework and those grades are in the grade book. Then I go back and put the zeros in. I go back and check the ungraded things as zeros. Now if somebody does a quiz after that, they're going to have to email you to tell you that they did. And they will, because they'll remember that they did it and the zero's still there and they'll wonder why. But that's the way that is. I can also go here and do a Moodle grader, and what the Moodle grader does is bring up the discussion item, and I can grade this discussion item from there. And I do that too. When I'm done grading the test, grading the homework, I go back to the discussions and make sure I got them all. I got some of them because some of them showed up right there. There's this chapter 7 discussion, section 7 discussion sitting there. So we'll come and look at that. And normally I would grade it from here. So now I'm in section 7 and I'm looking at a discussion. This is where you could get into trouble if you didn't have our book, but that's okay. You know, you're gonna have to figure it out. you save $250, you can lose a couple points, right? So why are there three different R's? Well, there's three different values of R's because of the units involved. So I look, these are three different values, units, there we go. So I give that a 2 rating, and now it's in the gradebook. I can click out of there, and I can come back to another one. Here's a section 8 one. Section 8 one on the same subject, and I click up on him, and I go to the same spot, and I know what I'm looking for. 3 different units, blah blah blah, units, blah blah blah. Okay, it sounds good to me, and I'd put a 2 in the gradebook and move on. The only guy that I'm going to and get rid of that guy. The only guy that they're going to have trouble with will be the one on coal versus nuclear power. And so what I normally get on the coal versus nuclear power discussion is a politically correct type answer saying, oh, nuclear is so much better because it uses so few, makes so few little ash. And unfortunately, that's the wrong answer. So the more adamant they are, the closer to a 0 they get. And if I go and look, I'm gonna get out of there for a moment and go look at my spring class. So there's the spring section 1. And we'll look at the grade book for homework and quizzes and coal power. And there's a 1. So there's a large exposure thing saying that nuclear is better. I like what he said. Unfortunately, it's not correct. I then sent back him a thing saying, hey, we use saturated steam, and it can be more efficient. And then after that, I got basically the correct answers. Although here we go, we got somebody is going off the cart. Nuclear power is more efficient than coal because of the amount of energy produced. No, efficiency is not a function of how much energy I produce. Just because I produce twice as much doesn't mean I'm twice as efficient. So when they're off the wall that far, we put a 0 in the grade book. I think that's all I have to say. Oh yeah, there's something else that we have to do, and let's see. What we'll do is we'll look at section 1. All right, so I go to right here. If I click on that icon, I end up going to everything in a shorter list. So I go there and I look at the welcome message, and I see that there is my email address. So because I duplicated all these pages, and some of you I've never met, I don't know your email address, you're going to have to go in and change the email address in the welcome message on the website for the section you're in. Same thing is true in the syllabus. You would, where's the syllabus? There's the syllabus. Because if we open the syllabus on this site, you'll see that it has my name on it. So you need to download the syllabus, put your name on it, and resave it to that syllabus location. Don't ask me why I have to do that 3 times. No one's been able to tell me that. But clearly you're going to want to have it to say something about your name and your email address. And you probably don't care that I'm in Connecticut, so you'd have to do something about those things as well. Alright, so we'll come back. So those things you need to change. I click on the introduction and oh wow, there's a picture of me. So you're going to want to remove the picture of me. You don't necessarily have to put a picture of you. Yep, there's an email address that has to be changed. And this is an active length to the syllabus again. So you're going to have to change that active length to be on that syllabus. Now how do we do that? Over here, edit settings. And obviously the wrong place to be, so we'll get out of there. We want to edit the settings of this guy. Okay, so we'll come back. Oh, we haven't turned the editing on. So I can't edit something that I haven't turned on. Well, that seems reasonable. Okay, so now I click on the circle icon there. And now I can click on the picture and remove the picture. I can come down and change the email address. If I highlight the syllabus and hit break the link and then hit make the link, I can then download the right syllabus to that spot. So those are just technical things that are cool. Now, the due date and assignment page you should put on your calendar, because these tests are going to come online on the dates that initiated. They need to be graded, they need to get in the grade book, and everything is done on Friday the 25th. So the class ends on Friday the 25th of July, and all grades need to be in at that time. Okay, well, I guess that's long enough for the introductory video. Maybe I'll make another one at the end of the first 4 chapters. Maybe I won't. Thank you very much. And this is going to be hidden someplace, and we don't really expect the students to see it.